Welcome to Around the Diamond. I'm Marvin Jackson, and joining me to talk baseball is one of the smoothest guys to patrol the outfield back in the day, former Washington Senator Fred Valentine. Thanks for joining us, Fred.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and also joining me is Dave Goldman, sports director at CTV. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to talk a little bit about baseball, but let's talk about the past. I mean, you played with the Washington Senators, and a lot of people may not remember the Senators. We didn't have baseball in such a long time. Talk about that period of time.
During that period of time, I was traded from Baltimore to Washington in 1963. And I came over from Baltimore, which was a contender, and I found out about the trade after we played our last game in Baltimore. And I remember I had a good day, and then we finished the season. On my way home to North Carolina for my wife, I was on 95, and over the news about 1 o'clock in the morning, sports came on, and they said, we have a trade that's just taken place. Fred Valentine's been traded from the Baltimore Orioles to the Washington Senators.
That's how you heard about it.
That's how I heard about it. Telegram was there waiting on me the next day, but it was a fortunate
no cell
trade
phones
for me.
back then, right?
No. But anyway, I came over in 1964, and for those people that may not be aware of it, we had a theme in 1964 for the team, off the floor in 64.
Okay.
And that meant getting out of the basement and moving upward.
Yeah.
And from that day on, from 64 up until 66, so some people remember that, the team moved up a notch each year under Gil Hodges, which I think was one of the best managers.
That was your manager on the team.
During that time, right.
And who were some of the other key players back then?
Well, during that time, and I came in 64, my first year. In 65, we got Frank Howard. He came over, and we had Mike Mullen.
Ken McMullen.
And Brinkman, shortstop.
Yeah, okay.
And we had Jim King and Don Locke in the outfield.
Okay.
And so our team pretty much, Epstein had him. Remember Paul Casanova?
Oh, Paul Casanova.
One of the greatest arms that was during that time.
Yeah,
he was a great, great catcher, and he loved to throw. And so we had.
So were you guys pretty close?
We were very close. Yes. Benny Daniels, he was one of our pitchers, and it was 5 of us there on the team. I say 5 of us African Americans on the team at that time. So we had a close knit among the players that was there. Was
Hank Allen there at that time? He wasn't there at that
Hank
time.
Came later.
Right?
Yes, he came later in
and
the
Chuck
season.
Hinton also, right?
Chuck Hinton, he was there when I got there.
Okay.
But he was traded to Cleveland.
Okay.
I think it was in 65, I think it's 65 or 66.
Okay.
Yeah, but Chuck was a great, great all-around ball player himself. He was the only player I played with that could play every position. And he did at RFK Stadium. The manager let him play everything but pitch. He played all the positions but pitch.
That's amazing.
And it's amazing.
Our news director played for Chuck. Curtis Crutchfield played at Howard and then ended up playing for Chuck for years and years and spoke very highly of him. Was just at his funeral, sadly, a couple months ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But those were the good years, and that was the years a lot of the people came out. We had doubleheaders.
A couple good years
on weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. We had the doubleheaders where all of the kids were out there, and I remember many, many Sundays we would have a doubleheader after the game. They'd all be waiting for the players to come out, and I'd tell the wife to go home because I'm going to stay here until every signature is given to every kid that wants one. And my procedure was, after we came out, they all out there and they flock around you. I said, line up, and I'll get everybody in the line before I leave here. I'm not leaving. So, and a lot of the adults come up now. A lot of the fathers come up. I remember when you had me to line up to get your signature. So they have kids now. I said, well, at least that was an order that we went through. But the people in this D.C. area, metropolitan area, they were great during that time. We didn't win a lot of ball games, but then again, they came out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you don't remember. We played one game against Minnesota, I think. It went 22 innings.
That's the longest game.
And that was about the longest game we played in Washington. And there was a group in right field that came to pretty much every game. And at that time, you could bring your coolers in. It was about 1:30 in the morning. And each team was telling the other, score a run. Let's get out of here and go home. Somebody score a run. And we ended up scoring a run to win the ball game. And this crew in right field, they hollered, "Hey, Mr. Valentine." I said, "Yeah." He said, "We hung in there, didn't we?" they were drunk as a dog, but they stayed until the game was over. And those were the type of fans
they
that we
might
had
not
in
have gotten home that night.
Yeah.
Late enough, they could just stay, and the batting practice is probably in a couple hours for the next one.
Yeah.
That's true.
And let's talk about this baseball team now. I mean, the Nationals are really, they've got a good fan base now. And Dave, are they playing the way you expected them to play?
Yeah, I am. I mean, look, you hear it's early in the year, so I'm not surprised about that. It's a long year. You know, guys have to get back into it. Yes, maybe they've caught up with Strasburg, maybe hurt. Who knows what the deal is?
Did they realize Atlanta was going to be so good?
Yeah, you know what? Everybody's got that you know, nemesis, and I guess for them it's going to be the Braves, right? Unless it's the Cardinals. That's another story, of course. But yeah, I think they expected it because they saw the pitching that they had. They saw the guy they got in the bullpen who's awfully good, and they upgraded with guys like Upton in the offseason. Yeah. So sure, I think I expected them to be right there. The pitching's good enough, and it's keeping them in games. And when some other guys besides Harper hit, they're going to be in good shape.
So it's going to be a race to the end, you think?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, well, I tell you what, we're going to take a break here, and coming up next, we're going to go on deck with Nat center fielder Denard Span, who was actually born in Washington, D.C. That story and more about the Nats when Around the Diamond returns. We'll be right back.